Where do you think Cheltenham Town will finish this season?
Top.
And another question: will we be in League Two the season after? Which obviously you just answered. You're confident in giving it a good go. Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think of the young players coming through at the club who have been here for a while but still very young?
Yeah, I mean, I've only been here a little bit, but they look some good, exciting prospects, really. I think one or two have still got a bit to learn and maybe a little bit of growing up to do. Not necessarily as people, but as players, maturing football-wise. Sometimes they sort of just switch off and sort of go in and dip in and out of games. And I think to be at a competitive level and a high level of professional football, you need to be concentrating for 90 minutes. I mean, but I think the lads are looking good in pre-season. You can see that as well. I think Hanksley started well. I think Zach's got 1 or 2 goals. Harry and Bobby look sharp up top as well, and I think 1 or 2 even younger. Niall, the centre half, he's had a good game the other night. So did Pagey. So I think there's some lads that are looking quite sharp and looking good. Obviously time will tell, but the manager said to us that no 11 set in stone. Everyone's got a chance to prove themselves, and if you do get in the starting team and we're winning and playing well, you perform well, you're going to stay there. So it gives them the incentive then that they can break into the first team and do well.
Tea or coffee?
Cup of tea for me, but you wouldn't know it. You've got to make your own round here. Carl Storer doesn't know how to take mine, I'll tell you that much. He does not know where the kettle is round here. So tea school's going a pot, I think. A nice cup of tea.
What's the funniest thing you've seen on a football pitch?
We had an FA Cup draw a few years back. We played Droylsden. It was the second round of the FA Cup, and we played them at home. It was a quite controversial couple of rounds. We ended up playing them 4 times, but the first game we played got abandoned at half time because of fog, and we were 1-0 down. This one was at Chesterfield. So we got a bit of a reprieve there because we were terrible on the night, but you couldn't see from one end to the other, so it was definitely the right decision. Next game we played them, that was on the Saturday. We played them on the Tuesday night, and the ball went out of play for an injury, and one of the lads just threw it back in, and Jack Lester got it and nonchalantly lobbed the keeper. He was meant to pass it back to him, and he just lobbed the keeper and went in 1-0. Droylsden, they had some thugs in the team at the time, and they kicked off, and they're all over our bench, and there's fights breaking out and all this, and we end up having to let them walk it down the other end and score. And then so went to a replay back at their place, so we're playing them for the 3rd time now. Ended up we were winning 2-0 at the time. I think it was the 73rd minute. All of a sudden, poof, lights go out, don't they? I think after 75 minutes the score stands, so we would have went through. 73 minutes, lights go out, game gets abandoned. Anyways, we have another replay, go back to their place, we lose 2-1, but the player who scored both goals had got sent off the week before, so he was in the end suspended. So it went to a tribunal. Droylsden got kicked out of the comp. We went through on a technicality, ended up playing Ipswich away. So it was a bit of a long drawn out FA Cup tie, but it was quite funny when Jack chipped the keeper. I remember standing there thinking, what are you doing, Jack? What have you just done there? Like I say, a few scousers bloody in our dugout having a bit of a Barney, but it was a good laugh.
It sounds like the most eventful cup tie in history, isn't it? Who's the funniest player at the club on the early evidence?
Oh, there's a couple going for that. Few loud ones, definitely. And there's a few that think they're funnier than what they are. But I think at the minute you got to mix up between Stoz and Pelly. They like to think they got a lot of banter, anyways. But they're quite characters anyway. They're good characters, and it's good to have a few about. But I won't upset either of them, and I'll say them too. But we've got a good bunch of lads.
What about the cleverest player at the club?
Well, Stoz mentioned me. Said, so I'll take that all day long. But obviously I've got to pick someone. I think Wright is quite intelligent. When you're speaking to him, you feel like you're having a grown-up conversation rather than when you're speaking to some of the lads, you feel like you're babysitting a bit. But but no, I'll go with righty.
Okay. What's the biggest regret of your career? Any regrets?
No, I don't think so. There's times when you know, there was one or two chances. I won't go too depth, but maybe I could have got a move here and there. And you know, you think back and you think maybe if I'd have forced that move through, I could have progressed to a higher level and played at a higher level. Hindsight's a beautiful thing. You know, grass is not always greener. I've found that out. You know, sometimes you think you should move, or sometimes players move on and they think they're doing it for the right things, and then it doesn't end up working out. And you know, I think everywhere I've played, I've really enjoyed it. I had eight good years at Chesterfield, and you know, I think I was loyal to them at times, and they were loyal to me at times. And I think you know, it worked a good relationship there. And I go back there, and I've still got friends back there. And then I moved to I had a loan at Bristol Rovers, and it was a great club as well. And then went to Torquay for 3 years, and you know, I was fond of the place there, and I'd like to think they were fond of me as well. So hopefully I can form a good relationship with Cheltenham and the club and the fans here. And you know, in years to come, if ever I come back, then hopefully I get cheered rather than booed.
Somebody's asked about your yo-yo test score. I know you did very well in it, didn't you? In the
yeah, I think
one of the top scores.
Yeah, I did quite well in that. We've got some fit lads here, but luckily fitness is something I've never really struggled with in my career. I do work on it. It doesn't just come easily. I do extra work and stuff like that. But a couple of fit lads. I think Jack Demon was top. So 2 centre halves coming top. Best you know, have a word with two of the other lads who think they're fit. So.
Have you got any friends who are ex-Cheltenham Town players?
I probably will do. Yeah, you come across, you know, a lot of players in football. You know, paths cross. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I know Byron Harrison, so I'm sure obviously he was thought of well here, and he's obviously moved on to my ex-club now, Cheltenham. Yeah, you get to know a few people over the years, and you know, there's more mutual respect, and you get to know people playing against them, rather than actually know them as people. You know them as to play against. And like I say, Stevie Elliott, I played against him numerous times. When I come here, it's all right, Downsy, you know, and you act like you do know each other, even though we've never really officially met. But you know, there's a few players like that. But yeah, that's it.
Last couple now.
Yep.
Who do you think is the quickest player at the club?
Well, Amari is small. Amari is the quickest, isn't he? He proved on the test, so yeah, definitely him.
Favourite film? Not Dumb and Dumber.
No, not Dumb and Dumber. It's a great film, actually. I love it. It'd be a couple. There's an Australian film called The Castle, which is a hell of a film. But also the film Australia. I love that. Takes me back. It's nice.
The final question, Aaron, is about Australians' approach to sport. You know, they seem to be very tough mentally. Do you think the kids are brought up in a different way in Australia compared to young English kids? Do you think there's that Steve Waugh that you were talking about?
Yeah, that tough mentality. I think, yeah, definitely. That's. Oh, here we go. Look, it's 10:30. You're meant to be keeping an eye on the time here. I've got a fine. I bet they're out there training now. You've absolutely killed me. Anyways, I'm late now, so I might as well answer the question.
They're just starting, I think.
Yeah,
so.
just starting. That's a fine. You watch Pele Beyond me now, and I'm a committee member, so it's double bubble. Oh, here we go. Anyways, no, the Aussies, they do bring them up tough, and you've got to have a strong mentality to make it, because it's a sporting nation, so everyone wants to do it. So you've got to be mentally tough to make it as a sportsman and professional athlete. I think the English underestimate themselves a little bit. There is some very tough characters in England, but I do think it's a generation thing now, and you know, could be here all day about, you know, younger kids being mollycoddled and the technology we have now, rather than, you know, when I was younger, you know, I lived in the bush. You know, you'd go out, you know, all day long. You wouldn't come in till it was dark, and your mum would be dragging you in by the ear. But nowadays you can't get kids outside. That's definitely a problem. But I think that the Aussies definitely are a tough bunch, a tough nut to crack, and we like to breed them tough, and So yeah, I definitely say it's a mentality thing that the Australians are brought up with, and hopefully I can rub that off on a few lads here, and we can be a tough bunch and have a good season.
Let you get out there, Dowsy. Thanks a lot.
Yes, you
Cheers.
better. Cheers, mate.